You mentioned, Reid, just two groups of words, power and peril words. And from reading the book, power words are when, will, next. Peril words are can't, don't, stop, try, maybe. I think there's quite a few of them. Could you explain these two categories just a little more and how people could apply them? Be it in a coaching scenario or in a work or personal life scenario.
Sure. So I broke them into two words because I'm a geek about that. I like things in threes. That's why there's power words, peril words, and transformational words. I like the alliteration. I'll try to alliterate any chance I can get. And it simplifies it and breaks it down. Again, I do a lot with the young social emotional learning. I do a lot with talking to young people. But honestly, everything we talk about translates to no matter what age you are. And all of us like to have things simplified for us and laid out like we're 5 years old, quote unquote. And so that's what I did is I laid it out for me like I'm 5 years old. And so I simplified these words and said, okay, typically when used most of the time, these set of words are power words. When, will, next, yet, what if. Typically when used in performance situations, these words, if, can't, don't, stop, try, maybe, those are peril words. And here's why. A power word means that it's going to help inhibit my peak performance, as we talked about a little bit earlier. So when somebody it's the famous Carol Dweck, when somebody says, oh, I can't do that, she says yet. Because yet is that word that says you can't now, but we're going to work together. I'm going to give you the resources in the environment, and you're going to work to solve this puzzle so that you can do it someday. So it's yet. What if? I mean, my whole career as a coach educator really started with my wife going, well, what if you could do it full time? What if is one of those very powerful words that sometimes when whispered quietly can start a revolution. What if we did it this way? What if cars could run on electric? What if, and so when you ask those questions and you back it with activity and you back it with passion, you can actually empower people to succeed. My big one was next. I had a coaching mate who used to use next all the time. And when I asked him, what he explained to me was it moved those athletes past. And so, some people will say, oh, that's a trigger word. It's not exactly a trigger word. It's more like a break the failure loop word. It's a disruptor. You use next with an athlete or somebody's made a mistake, and they're going to wallow in that mistake right in that moment. And if it's a mistake in a business setting, it could be fatal, where it's like maybe I mistraded as a trader, and now our stock is plummeting, and we're invested in it. And I'm like, oh, I messed up. So I can wallow in it, freak out, panic, and freeze up, and the stock continues to drop, where somebody in my team go, that's okay, next. And it pulls me out of that it disrupts me from that failure loop and gets me to take a step to end the bleeding. Oh, sell now. We'll cut our losses and sell now, right? So next is one of those words that breaks that failure loop, gets people out of that quagmire of failure and says, there's nothing I can do about what just happened, but I can control how I react to it now and what I do in the future. And that's a power word. That empowers people. You flip it, and there are certain words that are peril words. Can't. Oh, I can't do that. Well, are you sure you can't? You haven't tried. Is that just an excuse because you don't want to try, because you have a fixed mindset and you don't think you can? The fixed mindset says, I was born with these skills. If I don't have those skills, I can't acquire them. So I obviously am not good at math because I wasn't born good at math. The growth mindset says, I don't know how to do math yet, but there's a good chance I can learn how to do math. And if I can learn it well, I could be good at it. So I'm gonna give it my best shot, and I'm gonna see if I can acquire a skill set of being good at math. Can't is that word that stops that conversation. It ends everything. Or I don't want to give too much away, but the word if becomes a very powerful word in the book, and it starts with the opening chapter and the opening story, and you realize that is a word that shows that I am completely uncertain of my skills. If I'm using if, then I have no confidence in myself.